Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Homefront, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. I'm Mark Martin. The Justice Department is kicking 21 military trainees from Saudi Arabia out of the country. That's after the deadly shooting at the U.S. Navy base in Pensacola. It was the second deadly terror attack in the U.S. last December. As Charlene Aaron reports, both could have been much worse.
Federal authorities announced Monday that the Saudi military trainee who killed 3 U.S. military members in the Pensacola Naval Station shooting in December had been plotting the attack for months and intended to do much more damage.
This was an act of terrorism. The evidence shows that the shooter was motivated by jihadist ideology.
The killer, Saudi pilot Mohammed Saeed al-Shamrani, who was killed by law enforcement, had been reading and posting jihadi messages on social media just 2 hours before his deadly rampage. Investigators say the gunman intended to kill many more. He had more than 180 rounds of ammunition for his handgun. The investigation uncovered more concerns, leading to the deportation of 21 Saudi students. Officials discovered at least 17 of the trainees had jihadi literature in their possession. Others had child porn on their computers.
I do think it's clear that we have to improve our vetting procedures.
Barr is asking Apple for help getting into the shooter's iPhone to learn more. This comes as authorities reveal that a homegrown terror attack in December also could have been much worse. 2 suspects opened fire on a Jewish grocery store, killing 3. The U.S. attorney in New Jersey and head of the local FBI now says a powerful bomb found inside their van could have killed or injured people up to 5 football fields away.
We know now that they planned greater acts of mayhem. This was, in fact, a hate crime and an episode of domestic terrorism.
Police say a detective killed by the suspects spotted them in a cemetery right before the attack and may have altered their plan. Officials say they had researched a Jewish community center in nearby Bayonne as a possible target. The attack came amidst a rash of anti-Semitic incidents in the New York area, including an assault on a Hanukkah gathering that left 5 people injured. According to a recent report, anti-Semitic hate crimes in major cities in the U.S. are expected to hit an 18-year high this year. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
While additional troops are being sent to the Middle East, some military families are finally getting to welcome home their loved ones. The Navy's USS Abraham Lincoln and its strike group finally made it back to the States after a lengthy deployment. The ship departed Norfolk, Virginia for a deployment and home port change on April 1st, 2019. It was set to be relieved by the USS Harry S. Truman at the end of the summer, but the Truman was sidelined in late August because of electrical system malfunctions. Lincoln remained on station in the Middle East until Truman arrived in U.S. Central Command waters in mid-December. The carrier's 283-day deployment is just 1 week shy of the post-Vietnam War carrier deployment record of 290 days. It will make its final port at its new home base in San Diego, California. During deployment, the USS Lincoln was home to the Griffins of Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron. The 79 members a part of the squadron carried out various missions, including anti-submarine warfare, search and rescue, humanitarian relief, and medical evacuation operations. Here's a look.
A griffin is a mythological creature that was typically used to guard something precious, like treasure or whatever, and it was a combination of other different animals. So we've taken the best parts of other aircraft and combined it into our own MH-60 Romeo, and we use it to guard something equally precious, the Carrier Strike Group. So we have 2 primary missions. Our first primary mission is anti-submarine warfare, and our second is surface warfare. Anti-submarine warfare is to protect the Carrier Strike Group from potentially hostile submarines, and surface warfare is to provide the carrier with that big picture situational awareness. So if something gets close to the strike group, they need to be ID'd, they need to be tracked. That's what we do. We provide all of that information to the Combat Operations Center. Some of the secondary missions would include search and rescue, could include humanitarian relief, general helicopter operations. So typically we'll fly with a crew of 3. There are 2 pilots up front. One is acting as the helicopter aircraft commander, and the other is acting as the pilot. I sit in the back as the 3rd member of the crew, the sensor operator. I run the eyes and ears of the MH-60 Romeo. This job has its boring days, just like anything else. We'll fly out to do an open water search and discover that there's nothing out there but water. But then again, it also has its days where there's a little bit too much going on. This job requires a lot of training, a lot of study time, a lot of pre-mission prep. So usually when you're not on the flight schedule for a day, it means that you are being given that day to prepare for a big event of some kind. So when we're not flying, we are getting ready to fly. Pride is what it takes to be a Griffin. You have to be proud of the job you're doing. The job is not always, sexy like the fighter pilots doing their thing, or like the Starboard Delta Sierras, but it's a really important job to the strike group, and we have to give it 110%. The USS Abraham Lincoln and Carrier Strike Group 12 would be nearsighted without the Griffins, and far more susceptible to torpedo attack. So this is a stand-up squadron. We stood up in June just a few short years ago, and this is our actual first deployment together, as a squadron. I'm looking forward to seeing how well we're going to perform.
President Donald Trump officially launched the Space Force in December when he signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law. In a recent ceremony, Vice President Mike Pence swore in the first ever Chief of Space Operations for the new U.S. Space Force, General John Raymond.
It is President Trump's belief that the United States must remain as dominant in space as we are on land and sea and the air. And your charge is to see to that mission with the United States Space Force, to defend this nation and to defend our ideals. And we know that you will answer that call with the integrity and with the conviction and with the professionalism that has characterized your entire career.
The role of the new Space Command is to conduct operations such as enabling satellite-based navigation and communications for troops and commanders in the field. The command will also provide warnings of missile launches abroad.
We will build this new service in a way that strengthens our joint force and allows us to move with the speed and agility needed to respond to the current strategic environment. Once built, the Space Force's measures of success will be that our adversaries are deterred and that our joint and coalition partners always have the space capabilities that our modern way of war and our modern way of life depend on. I can't thank you enough for the privilege of being here today. Thank you for the honor of administering the oath.
Meanwhile, NASA just welcomed its newest astronaut. Marine Corps Major Jasmine Mogbelli graduated from the NASA Astronaut Candidate Program, becoming the second female active duty officer in her service to do so.
Jasmine Mogbelli.
I graduated today, only a few hours ago here, from the Astronaut Candidate Program and officially became an active duty astronaut today. And it's really exciting to be following in the footsteps of Lieutenant Colonel Mann, the first female to graduate from this program as an active duty Marine Corps officer. She's been a great role model. My background that led to this point, and I think being in the Marine Corps was a huge asset, and being a test pilot. And the training since then, it's incredible because some of the major courses we learn are robotics, learning to speak Russian, learning about the International Space Station and its systems, and learning how to do spacewalks. And then flying the T-38 jets. It's a super exciting time to be in space exploration and human space exploration. You heard talk about the International Space Station. We've been up there almost 20 years continuously now. We've got several new vehicles on the horizon, Boeing and SpaceX both with their commercial crew vehicles, NASA developing Orion and the SLS to go onto the moon and to Mars with Gateway program. And so there are a lot of exciting things. Right now in my day-to-day, I'm focused on getting us to the moon and the human lander system. When I graduated, I felt honored to be joining the company of so many amazing women and men.
Coming up, it's not just the service members themselves who make sacrifices. How one Air Force spouse says tragedy changed her life.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torresadillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
You're watching On the Home Front. In the first quarter of 2019, 90 active duty service members died by suicide. This year, all branches are working hard to combat that and hope to not see the same trend. Air Force spouse Kristen Christie tells her story of tragedy that led to her life charge.
My children, our children, were 14 and 12. And our 14-year-old got up to give the eulogy. "17 years of marriage, 3 PCSs, 2 kids, 2 boys, a deployment for 4.5 months, and I couldn't save my husband from committing suicide. It's been 12 years and I haven't seen our oldest son, who would be 26, in over 4 years. My family's been decimated. I feel like I failed as a spouse and as a mother. And I will live with that for the rest of my life. But it's my choice how I live the rest of my life. Am I going to live the rest of my life having regrets? and wallowing in what could have been? Or do I take those lessons that I've learned to help other people, to help my younger son heal? Because he's still struggling 12 years later. It's not about me, but I heal every time I tell our story. And I pray each and every time that it resonates with one person. Just one person is what I want it to resonate with. I wish I could say no other family will go what we went through. And I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that whoever I come across in life knows that they are not alone, they are not a burden. To give people pause, that there are after effects and destruction left behind after some of the choices we make. That's my passion. That's my purpose. I want to make a difference in someone's life. That it takes community. We are not alone. We are not a burden. And that you matter. You may not know it, but you matter, and I'm telling you right now that you matter. I've heard the story before. When you look at a tombstone and you see the birth date and the death date, and you see the dashed line in between, that dashed line means so much more than the birth date and the death date. When I die, I want my birth date, my death date, and an exclamation point in between. I want people to remember how I lived my life. I lived it with gusto. I lived it with zest, with pizzazz, with an exclamation point.
Up next, how CBN is stepping in to help military families in need.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back to On the Home Front. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to providing financial support to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans. After a Cat 5 hurricane flooded their home, Micah and Courtney were left with nowhere to live for more than a year. Even worse, insurance would not pay another cent. Where was this military family going to get the money to rebuild? They did not have a clue.
Special Ops medic Micah has seen his share of combat on the battlefield in Afghanistan. His wife Courtney is extremely proud of her husband's decorated military career.
It definitely takes a special person to be willing to go, knowing I might not come home. Yeah, I'm definitely very proud of what he did.
In October 2018, the family faced a war zone at their own home when Category 5 Hurricane Michael pummeled Panama City, Florida. Floodwaters rose to the ceiling of their house, destroying everything except the home's framework.
You think it's going to be a couple months and they'll get you back in your house, but as you can see, down to the studs, so did not expect this.
In fact, it's been nearly a year since the family of 5 evacuated. They've been living in this 30-foot camper ever since.
There's been some real trying times where God has really had to work on us and teach us some hard life lessons and teach us to lean on Him when we're pretty much out of strength.
Then another blow to an already difficult situation. Their insurance company told them their policy had reached its limit and the family would be responsible for the remaining repairs that would cost thousands of dollars, money they didn't have.
Hey, good morning.
Their pastor, Andy Lambert, asked them over to get an update on the situation.
Insurance company is now looking at our claim saying, you guys are completely maxed out. There is no more money to give you guys to replace that brick. There is no more money to give you guys to replace the electrical.
I have no idea where it's coming from. I do know that we serve a big God and a good God, and I know that He will supply it. He will.
The couple didn't know that Pastor Andy with First Baptist Church Panama City had already contacted CBN's Helping the Home Front.
This organization, Helping the Home Front, is going to step in and they're going to pay for the electrical work that you haven't been able to do.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're going to take it one step further and they're going to take care of that brickwork so it can be done right. I mean, you brought up a pretty big number.
Thank you.
Very grateful. We had no idea where it was going to come from, but very thankful.
Yeah, Helping the Home Front has been just an organization that really, it does represent the body of Christ, caring for military and veterans who are in dire circumstances.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
A few weeks later, contractors started on the work the couple initially couldn't afford.
CBN providing this is definitely something I did not expect at all. So I'm very thankful that there are people who are willing to come alongside CBN and be partners with them to give other military members and veterans gifts like this. This is such a great gift.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Tikkun Olam,
This is our nature as a country.
to make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
Thanks for staying with On the Home Front. The Defense Department launched an initiative in 2018 called This Is Your Military to highlight the work of service members. The initiative also has the goal of debunking myths about military service and increasing awareness among the American people. Using the hashtag #KnowYourMil, the DoD is sharing personal stories to inspire others. Meet one of the airmen who keep the RQ-4 Global Hawk, a high-altitude, remotely piloted surveillance aircraft in the sky. Air Force Airman Kieran Coffey is a vehicle maintenance technician, and he explains why his job involves more than just working on a vehicle.
I'm Airman First Class Kieran Coffey. I'm Mission Generation Vehicle Maintenance Technician. Doing my job requires many different things. Sometimes it's just researching parts, sometimes it has to do with troubleshooting. It's a fun job, but it's one of those ones where you kind of have to be willing to be a jack of all trades. You know, there'll be days when there's not a lot going on and instead you're just maintaining the shop, you're cleaning up things, you're checking to see what needs to be replaced or, you know, how much fuel or oil we have left, things like that. But a day-to-day for me would be coming into the shop. Usually I'm going to know what vehicles I would be working on from the day before, or you know, my shop lead will come to me and say, hey, like this just came in, this is what's wrong with it, or this is what the technician or the operator is saying is going on. Can you look what it is? And I would go grab a TO and try and like troubleshoot from there. There's always someone on standby that is ready to go out during day or night, any weather condition, anything, and fix that vehicle. It's critical to the mission because without vehicle maintenance, every single one of these machines that you see next to me wouldn't operate effectively and efficiently. And we need to keep the flight line completely clear for the Global Hawk to be able to take off, you know, any hour of the day or night, which is what allows us to be able to have that reconnaissance effect, you know, to be one step ahead of our enemies at every given moment. And that's what, you know, makes vehicle maintenance so imperative to the Global Hawk mission specifically.
That's going to do it for today, but you can find more of our exclusive news coverage at cbnnews.com. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.